Hi, I'm Caroline Maffia. I'm the Strategic Lead for Contact Tracing, Monitoring and Enforcement here at the Government of Jersey. I'm going to talk about some of the tips that we've learnt over the last 10 months about how to avoid people from your workplace becoming direct contacts and what you can do to control the ability to keep your business open and to have enough staff working for you safely. So, tip number one of the things we've found is that a lot of businesses have brilliant things going on front of house, and that attitude then doesn't happen as soon as someone comes off the shop floor and they go for breaks. They'll sit down, they'll take off their masks, they'll get close together, and we find that our direct contacts don't happen in the front of house business side of things. It's actually that people are getting together during their breaks, whether that's lunch, if they're going for a smoke break or anything like that. All of that good learning and that good experience, for some reason, just goes out the window. And that's where we get our direct contacts from. So tip number one is make sure that your staff are aware that what they do front of house, all of that guidance, all that training that you've given to them to protect themselves as well as protecting the business should be taken into the staff rooms as well. And if they're sharing lifts, take that sort of guidance into there as well. Mask wearing, windows down in the cars, it just makes them far easier, less susceptible to actually catching COVID, which means that your staff can still come to work and still help you out and your business can stay open. Tip number two, and this is very much about the staff break room. If you have a business with a breakout area, how big is it? Can you fit the staff in safely? Does it need to be a one-person policy at a time? And do you need to look at how staff are able to take their breaks differently to be able to keep your business safe? One of the key things is about distancing between chairs and the ability for people to understand that they shouldn't be moving the chairs closer than that. And what is 2 metres? 2 metres isn't linear, it's 2 metres between person to person, so that's nose to nose. People aren't 2 inches thick, so if you're using strips of paper on the ground to identify what 2 metres is, chances are your staff are actually going to be closer than that. So really think about 2 metres nose to nose. Remember that we've all got anatomy, that means we've got bottoms and bellies that make us wider than that. So take that into account as well when you're making the calculations. And 2 metres we recommend is very much your minimum. If you can go wider than that, brilliant, do so. Point number 3, and this is a free to access, easy to access service, and that's encourage all your staff to join on to the workforce screening programme. Workforce screening means that they're getting their PCR swabs, which are an accurate swab for being able to identify whether or not the individual has got COVID. And it means that you're protecting your front door. You're making sure that that individual doesn't come into your business, and then you're taking away the risk of actually giving it to other individuals from a health and caring perspective. And also it means that you're less likely to have direct contacts within your staffing, which means that you're more likely to be able to keep your business open with losing one person as opposed to 8, 9, 10 people in that process. Staff screening is absolutely a real recommendation to be able to encourage your employees to do that. All they need to do on the first occasion is ring the helpline on 445566 to get themselves booked in. Once they're actually in the screening programme, we've now been able to create a system whereby they'll get further reminders when they're due for their next screening. So they only need to make that phone call once, and then it becomes easier after that. So 445566, encourage all your staff to be able to do that. And although you can't require the information from them, ask them, find out how many of them have actually gone through it, possibly talk about it in your meetings, about the experience, and if you've got any recommendations, please let us know. And that leads me on to tip number 4, which is every single day when your staff are coming into your building, get them to sign a register that goes through all of the symptoms, where they're making an actual declaration saying they don't have any symptoms. If they have got symptoms, to protect your staff and protect your business from potentially having direct contacts and losing the ability to remain open. If they have got symptoms, again, they can access the symptoms register, and that's the same phone number, that's 445566, and they just need to be able to tell them what the symptoms are and we can get them tested. Testing turnaround now is extremely quick. They should be back with you a day, 2 days later at the most. And if you compare that to the risk of losing them several team members as direct contacts for 10 days, it's a risk not worth taking. Get them tested and get them encouraged so that they know that they need to do that. And from that as well, they can also get their temperature taken. That's really simple and really cheap. You can get things from different businesses, a little infrared temperature check, get them to put it against their an inch from their forehead, check it, and if you get them to confirm that it's less than what a fever would be, great. You're protecting your business, get them to come through that front door. If they've got a temperature, get them to go home, get them to call the helpline and let them know and get them tested if you can. And then tip number 5 is the mask. We've all become quite accustomed to using them. Not everyone's doing it properly, so here's some good examples of how to make sure you do it properly. The first thing is to make sure that the person's hands are clean, that they know this before they put the mask on. That can be using soap, or if you're not able to get close to properly washing your hands, the sanitizer is always a good backup. And then using the straps as opposed to the fabric part, just making sure that it's over your face. And just making sure it's fit for comfortable. You can still talk through it. People can still hear you through it. It doesn't need to be put down under your nose. We breathe through our noses. It doesn't need to be on your chin. We don't breathe through our chins. So making sure that staff members actually realise it's only protecting them when it's worn properly. Otherwise, it just looks a bit silly. There you go. Taking it off, simple, just through the straps. And it seems obvious, but we regularly find that people haven't been doing it properly, and as a result, we have to identify them as direct contacts when they didn't need to be.